evening, Cubs and Cardinals fans. It's Thursday, May 3rd. And the Cubs and Cards are all set to face off this weekend. But before they do, we're going to recap last week's events, maybe talk a little bit of Sammy Sosa, and lay out our expectations of what lies in the weekend ahead. The Team of Rivals podcast starts right now.
Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. There's a drive. Way back. It might be. It's complete. Playing a high drive into left. Back towards the creek. He's at the track. He has it. He's the world champion for 2011. A little bouncer slowly toward right. He will glove it toward Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
This is the Team of Rivals podcast. No insiders, no anonymous sources, just passionate analysis from the bleacher seats. Here are your hosts, Ron Nuttall and Peter Geddes.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Another week and another weekend coming up. Series between Cubs and the Cardinals. The Cubbies head down south, this time to Busch Stadium. Guys, are we excited for this one or not? Because we barely mentioned anything about it. What kind of mood are we in? I mean,
yeah,
I'm nervous.
I'm not. I'm not nervous. I'm looking forward to the series. I mean, I'm a little meh right now because of the way that the last series ended. But I mean, the way they played last week though against the Brewers was outstanding. Yeah, I know they didn't score a ton of runs, but the pitching was fantastic. Whoa,
what was that? Everybody all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I bumped my
Just died.
I haven't done this in 2 weeks. I'm completely out of practice. I've forgotten all the protocols. Don't ask me to lead us out. It's going to sound like you.
Hey, I think we did. Elliot, how good of a job did we do of that last week? Because
besides me choking to death, I think we did a pretty decent job.
I almost implanted the time stone into my glove so that I could go back and fix that thing while I was listening to the podcast. Not saying it was awful. I just wanted to travel through time.
I forgot about you choking to death, Elliot. I'm glad you reminded me of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know what happened.
Pete, you're absolutely right. We're not very good at that. You know, we tried. We didn't come through.
That's okay. I expect that of you. I was a little disappointed in Elliot.
I apologize.
He's got a point. Yeah, we stumbled through that. It wasn't good. But obviously you can see that I'm a little distracted right now because I'm trying to put some audio clips down. I was just informed. So you guys, why don't you tell us how the Cubbies did this week? Because I said they had a pretty nice week. Pete, you didn't sound quite as
on its face. I mean, they had a 5-2 homestand. So when you first look at that, you're like, wow, that's great. That's exactly what you want. You know, they swept the Brewers. They took the first one against the Rockies. When you just look at it, in fact, even the loss in the 6th game of the series wasn't terrible. It was a close game. They just couldn't get anything going on offense. But when you look deeper, I mean, this offense is seriously messed up. Yeah, Albert Almora Jr. and Javier Baez have certainly been spark plugs at the top of the offense, but they've really been the only ones. This offense is just not clicking. And I think it's a sign of some of the troubling things that we saw last year, an inability to string together contact, inability to drive men in from while they're in scoring position. I mean, we're seeing a lot of the same things happen this year that happened last year.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I mean, obviously we know that Rizzo is struggling a little bit, and maybe that still stems from part of the back issue. We don't know. Bryant has kind of cooled off a little bit.
Well, that happens when you take a baseball off your face.
Yeah, and to be expected. Contreras is kind of floating along right now. Yeah, I mean, just kind of that back of the order really isn't. It really feels like they're out of sync a little bit. Yeah, and if it hasn't been for Almago, those two guys have been great at the top of the order. I want to continue to see them up there at top, and you got to know that there's going to be times when both those guys aren't going to be hot. So there might be times when that top of the order cools off a little bit, and you hope to see Bryant and Rizzo and Contreras start to heat up at that point. Hopefully with the weather, the nice weather coming in, those guys will start to get a little looser, especially Rizzo with his back, and start to play some better ball at the plate.
I think the thing that saved their cookies was a nice run by the starting pitching. Correct me if I'm wrong, Elliot. I think it was either 6 or 7 games in a row where the starters put up quality starts. That's quite a run. But I mean, Darvish he apparently is only good with the Cubs so far when he's with the Brewers. And I wonder, given his inability to get past the 5th inning so frequently this year, and I know it came up on Twitter today, and I think probably even yesterday, I wonder if the Iowa shuttle doesn't start churning. Does Jimenez come up and Caratini go back down to get some regular at bats, just to give Darvish some comfort, somebody who knows him and who knows his stuff. I'm not saying that Contreras shouldn't catch him, but maybe Contreras catches his bullpens until he's used to him and until he can properly present those balls, because he's not helping Darvish out at all.
No.
Granted, Darvish is having some serious control problems, but having Wilson Contreras behind the dish isn't helping.
Yeah, and I remember seeing in one sequence, Contreras went through every single freaking sign and then did one of these where it's like, throw whatever the hell you want to throw, because I don't know what you want me to put down right now. So yeah, there could be something where maybe Darvish just isn't comfortable with Contreras quite yet, and that's messing with his head a little bit. 90% of this game is in between your ears, so you don't know. So
and the other half is physical.
That's right. Don't forget, it's also 30% luck.
Yeah, 60% of the time it works every time.
I also wonder if maybe it isn't time to pull the trigger a little more quickly than they did last year with Schwarber and send Happ down to get his stuff together, because I think you have to be an idiot to take Albert Almora Jr. out of center field at this point.
Yeah.
He demonstrated exactly why he should be playing center field every day over the last 2 weeks. I mean, he crammed a season's worth of phenomenal catches into the last 2 weeks, and how you can take him out for other than occasional rest would baffle me, no matter how hot Ian Happ's bat gets, because you just can't make up for the defensive lapses and the inability to just flat out get to balls that Almora gets to easily.
Yeah.
You can't make up for those lost runs, no matter how hard your bat is.
If Happ got hot again, he'd go to left.
I think it really, really sounds like, guys, that they've got similar problem to what my team has had the last couple of years with outfielders who, but I guess I'm a little caught off guard. I didn't think Ian Happ was a defensive liability, and you're telling me that is it just
in center field? He is.
Okay, so he's ideally a corner outfielder, but their corner outfield positions are.
They're already platooning him heavily. You're looking at Schwarber and Zobrist and Hayward going through heavy rotation, and having to find playing time for all of them. And then working Happ into there as well. Yeah. If you're going to put anybody else in center field, it should be Hayward, not Happ.
Yeah. So I agree. When do you think that'll happen? You're asking for it sooner, but
I'd like to see it happen right now. Happ's not going to get his stuff fixed by having occasional at bats. But that's all he's earned at this point. I know that he's not as awful as he was at the beginning of the year. But he's still striking out at, I think it's like a 40% rate. That's just unacceptable for a team that has postseason aspirations.
Guys, I've been seeing this headline come up, and I think that this strikeout thing is amazing. There were more strikeouts in the first month
than
there were hits.
Yeah.
And they're on pace for that to happen, which would be the first time in Major League history where there were more strikeouts than hits in a season.
So I'm wondering if this is a fad, a trend that will hopefully go away. Like, guys with real tight jeans and a little bit baggier shirts and frosted tip, spiky hair. I'm hoping the strikeout shit goes away along with all the other stupid fads that, the young people bring in. Skinny jeans, guys. Somebody's going to have to explain that one to me. We can break away later if we want to talk about it, but skinny jeans is something I want somebody to explain to me what you think you look like outside of your house or your apartment or whatever you're doing. Okay, later on.
Well, when you have, I think I can explain it very quickly. When you have no interest in athletic activities and therefore have no muscle on your legs, skinny jeans make sense.
Fine.
I don't even like tapered jeans.
I get what you're saying. If you naturally just kind of had bird legs and you were born with them and those jeans are more comfortable for you, I get that.
No, it's not that it's more comfortable. It's just that you at least don't look like a fool wearing skinny jeans if you have no leg muscles and no ass.
Pete, do you wear skinny jeans?
No.
Okay.
I've got a big.
I thought you were rationalizing why you purchased.
No, I've got a big Scottish ass. You know what that thing would look like in skinny jeans? Heck no.
Yes, I can imagine what that Scottish ass would look like. I have a Scottish ass. So, all right, don't let me take this careen this show into the ditch already. Yeah, I know. But no, the strikeout thing. Tim Kirkjian was on Dan Le Batard's show earlier in the week. I think it was on Tuesday, and was just if baseball wants to get, and this wasn't his point. This is kind of what I took away just listening to him, getting me thinking. He too was bringing this up, going, I just can't believe what I'm seeing. I mean, if baseball wants to make its game more interesting, how interesting is a game when every other batter that steps up to the plate whiffs? How exciting is that? How does that improve pace of play?
Yeah.
So, Pete, I know that you and I have talked many times. We like a classic pitcher's duel, but I don't like to see everybody up there swinging as hard as they can and striking out at the rate people are striking out. It is ridiculous. I mean, there are guys that already have 40 strikeouts. And then Kirkjian was calling up other players that had not even 40 in an entire season.
Yeah.
And so this is, I hear it on the radio. I watch these games on TV. The Cardinals are just as guilty as any team. It is. I don't know what these guys are being taught. They certainly haven't raised the mound in secret. So what the hell is going on? Is it the way they're being brought into the game? These guys are just so athletic. It's either, feast or famine. Swing as hard as I can. If I center one, great. If I don't, that's fine. I struck out like the other four guys that did in front of me, so I don't feel embarrassed.
It's launch angles and velocity. That's
the fad I'm talking about, Elliot. I mean, you boil it down. That's the fad I'm talking about. I just call me an old man, Pete. We talked about it. Are we set in our ways? Right? But I don't want to hear about that. I don't care.
What happened to see the ball, hit the ball?
Yeah, well, right, and
well, that's what they do. They see the ball and they hit the ball occasionally.
Yeah, they see it for a second, and
yeah, but they're worrying about their 23.5 launch angle that they're trying to connect the ball with.
Well, I'm sure that Kirkjian mentioned it, but and you and I, Ron, have talked about it numerous occasions. What a fan of Tony Gwynn I was. In his worst season, he struck out 40 times.
Yeah, right. I'm sorry. It's the point he brought up. I mean, there were a couple other guys too that he was talking about. But
here's the amazing thing. So in 1987, he drew 82 walks. In 1987 and 1988 combined, he struck out 75 times. He walked more in a single season than he did in back-to-back seasons. You would never see that now.
No, I know. And
even Joey Votto wouldn't do that.
No, yeah, Joey Votto is one of those.
He's like the last megastar left, besides Altuve, that actually will just hit or only swing at things that they can do something with.
Right.
So yeah, it is added to, I believe, some of my boredom watching games, even my own team.
Yeah, you're right. You mentioned it. Only swinging at something you can hit. You don't see many hitters spoil pitches anymore, right? Where it's a pitch that they know it's going to be a strike, but they know they can't do anything with it. And so rather than swing for the fences on it or let it go by, they just foul it off. You don't see that happen anymore. And that's a lost art. The ability to work a pitcher until you get a pitch that you can handle, and not necessarily a pitch that you can drive into the seats, but a pitch that you can do something with to keep the line moving.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dylan.
I'm looking at the stats right now for the Cubs, and Ian Happ right now was 73 at bats and 36 strikeouts. I
just under 50%.
Yeah. I mean, in the best strikeout walk ratio right now,
Bryant
is Chris Bryant.
Yeah.
17 strikeouts, 15 taken bases. So,
and that was better before he got hit, and he racked up a bunch of strikeouts coming back from getting hit in the head.
Yeah, and you know who's actually second on the team with the ratio, and I didn't think this was
Schwarber.
Actually, he's second.
Oh.
Hayward's third, though.
I was going to guess Hayward because the way your tone was, it was like you're never going to believe this, and so I said,
yeah. So crazy.
So enough about the Cubs.
Yeah.
How you feeling about the last week for the Cardinals?
I mean, honestly, not great. And the last two games they have won. They won them against the White Sox, and I know what we know about the White Sox, but a win's a win. You always take it. The fact that Carlos Martinez supplied the power on the last win game is a little, it makes you think, like, okay, what's going on with the offense?
And not just hitting his first career home run, as in major league career home run, his first career, as in ever, in his life.
Right.
He has never hit a home run before.
You wouldn't have guessed that by his trotter on the bases. That was
was he going fast enough to have that considered a trot?
No, it probably wasn't a trot. Yeah. But you notice that guys who haven't done it are so shocked they look uncomfortable. Either they're going way too either they're unknowingly pimping it because they don't know what to do, or they've already like at home plate before they even realize what they've done. So yeah, that's funny. And I picked up on that little tidbit too. I didn't know it was his first ever. But yeah. Oh, well, hey, you know what? You go up there, you swing a bat hard enough once in a while, you're going to connect on one, which feeds into why everybody should be paying attention to launch angle and exit velocity.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So let's not beat that horse anymore, guys. I'm sick of hearing about it. And I'm wondering here, I've detected, at least personally, a little bit of I hear that a little bit less in the media. I don't know about you guys. I don't know how many games you're able to watch, but even tuning into MLB Network at times, just having it on the background, I'm not hearing it as much. So, here we go.
T-minus 3, 2, 1, launch.
Baby.
I thought I'd bring my thoughts on Series 2.
Well, we haven't got to it yet, but okay. Since maybe this is a good segue, guys, and then we can talk about the Cardinals week. Braden, hey, you know what, Braden? Hang on a second. Before we do that, I want to talk about those guys. Just asked me, about the Cardinals week. I was talking about the White Sox games. They won both of them. They had to beat the White Sox in extra innings, really tying it up in the ninth, and then Yachty hitting the go-ahead, not go-ahead, but the winning run in, and then Carlos Martinez supplying the pop in yesterday's game. So they're off today, but before that, it was rough, guys. I mean, the Pittsburgh series, we've been sitting here bashing people on launch angle and exit velocity. Pittsburgh played a completely opposite game over the weekend, and they just hit the ball.
Yep.
And I perhaps have underestimated how good that team looks. If you watch some of those games, and who was that pitcher? Guys, help me out with the name. I don't remember the name now.
Oh, Kingham.
Yeah. Kingham. I think he looked pretty good. Now the Cardinals have historically over the last 4 or 5 years, if it's an unknown pitcher for some reason, baffles St. Louis, and it was his first start. But he did look good. I mean, I'll give him that. But so did the rest of that team. I mean, they've got some players there. You know, I know Marte served his suspension last year. We never know how those guys are going to come back, but he looked good. I mean,
and Jungle Gong's coming back. He got a visa.
He did get a visa. So yeah, it'll be interesting to figure out how he gets back into the fold there. I'm not sure that. I mean, he's going to probably have to work his way back. He's going to have to earn it based on just what I saw from that team. But I underestimated the Pirates. They look way better than what I expected them to. The Cardinals didn't play very good. And coming off a great week where they put themselves back in first place, they quickly took themselves right back out of it. So the series like that, guys, it's always kind of a struggle to determine, okay, how much of this was Pittsburgh being way better than we thought? How much is it the Cardinals just not playing well for 3 games? I mean, who do you give most of the credit to? I feel like I'm giving plenty of credit to Pittsburgh for playing a great series, but you know, the Cardinals just didn't look very good. They looked beat. You could tell when they were beat in that series.
Yep.
It's those late inning games, you know, starting on Friday night, you know, Holland. I don't know what to think about that. I don't know if it's all, you know, if it's, hey, look, is this, how much do you chalk up to this, that he came back too soon, that he he wasn't ready, or how much of this is just truly Greg Holden? It's hard to determine, but that's where it all started. I mean, when it started with that blown save, it just kind of went downhill the rest of the weekend. Kind of figured, you know, you could tell what was going to happen. So not a great week. Last 2 wins are fine. And we'll see how this weekend goes. But since we're talking, let's get into this weekend coming up now. So while we got Braden on the phone, and it is a school night, Braden, yeah, tell us about the series.
Well, I was kind of shocked that we had to pull off a 9th inning against the Sox. I was like, oh my gosh, if we lose this game, I would have been pretty mad.
Yeah, but guys, have you watched any White Sox or heard about it? You guys are up there. I think this team is looking like it's got something good coming on the horizon. They've got talent, for sure.
It's supposed to, but I think
they're the 2014 Cubs right now.
Yeah, they are.
That's probably good. Yeah.
But the way that they were being talked about at the beginning of the year, they are surprisingly terrible. There were a lot of people who were talking about the Sox maybe being better than this year, that they were going to start showing, and they're not at this point.
Is it pitching that they're behind in?
No, it's everything.
Well, they're better than the Royals.
They're striking out like crazy. They're hitting a lot of home runs, but it's not doing enough because their pitching is terrible. You know, they're just, they're bad.
Yeah, there's a lesson. There's a lesson for you in baseball right there. They're hitting a lot of home runs, striking out a lot, not being able to hit in a situation because they're taking the same damn swing every. Yeah. Braden, sorry. This coming series.
Go, Bray.
Well, I feel like we're going to have to set our standards and at least take 2 out of 3 in a Busch Stadium. First series at Busch versus the Cubs. I think it's only right if we take 2 out of 3. I feel like we need to, in order to feel like, hey, we're serious this year. We're not gonna win basically 1 game against the Cubs like we did last year. It was terrible.
I think they won more than 1, but sure there wasn't very many.
No, I think it was like 2 or 3 at max.
All right, so
good.
So we have it won't be easy for the Cardinals. I mean, to start off with, you have Quintana against Mikolas. Now, the one thing here to think about is that while the Cardinals have, like most of the National League Central up to this point, because Quintana is still a new guy, right, to the division. But Cubs did they face Mikolas in those 2 games in Chicago? And I don't think they did.
I don't think so.
So it'll be the first time that they're looking at him, because I don't know if they would have been exposed to him in a short stint with San Diego or Texas, but and that was pre-Japan. So the one thing the Cardinals might have sneakily would be that they haven't seen Miles pitch yet.
And we know how the Cubs have historically done against pitchers who they've done things before.
Miles has been great, and I agree. He's been solid. You know, I think he had 1 bad outing, but he's been pretty good. Game 2, we got Chatwood against Weaver. Weaver has not looked good in his last 3 starts.
And Chatwood's looked good his last couple of starts.
He struggled his last
effectively wild. That's kind of the story that's been with him.
Gave up like 6
he's going to give up walks
against the Cubs.
So.
Yeah. All right. So Braden, last game, guys, we can talk about this too. Cardinals are TBD right now. They've sent Jack Flaherty back down to Memphis, which I'm not happy about. But Lester's going in game 3, which would be Sunday. Cardinals have not announced who will be throwing that game.
I just saw it.
I'm on the app right now, and it doesn't say. It says TBD.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it still says TBD on Cubs.com right now as well.
ESPN has.
I was not very happy
Leicester versus Waka
on Friday when they faced Pittsburgh. I was so mad when they blew that game. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I know. You called me. You tried to call me. I heard all about it.
You would have got a 5-minute rage session if you would have answered.
All right, so Braden, you're calling 2 out of 3.
I hope that's what I'm shooting for. That's what I want to happen.
What does your gut tell you, Braden?
That's what I want to happen.
Okay, so what do you think's really going to happen? Come on.
I don't want to jinx myself. I want 2 out of 3.
But what do you think's going to happen?
2 out of 3 can happen, but I also think 1 out of 3 can also happen.
Okay, so if you
that's my answer.
If you had to bet your PS4 on it.
Oh God.
What's going to happen? Come on. School night, you got to get to bed. Pick one. Make a choice.
1 out of 3.
1 out of 3. I love the PS4 that much, evidently. All right, B, thanks for giving us your take.
I can't give up MLB. I want to be able to give you reports on my season.
Hey, okay, yeah, how is your season going?
Yeah, quickly.
Quickly?
Yep. Well, how's it going? How many seasons have you played since we last talked to you?
I tried rebuilding the Marlins Part 2.
Why? Why would you try to do that?
So I got all these amazing prospects, and they want me to win World Series in like a matter of 2
already
years.
better than Jeter.
It takes me like
hey! So how did the first pitch of the first game go in your new season as a Marlin? Did it go anything like this?
And this happened live on the radio. Guillermo at Cubs opening day.
Oh, here we go.
All right.
And the windup and the pitch. Oh God! A home run on the first pitch of the game. Oh my God!
All right. Did it go anything like that?
No, I did not want to play the game, so I skipped it.
Okay.
And the final score was 11-1.
11-1 who?
Cubs.
Okay. All right.
All right, but the thing is, I get all these amazing prospects. They all are okay. So the last season with the Marlins, we go 81-81, right?
Yep.
They fire me.
Fired you what? What?
And all those good players I got for them,
yeah,
all turned into like 90 overalls, and the Marlins win World Series next year.
After they fired you.
Yep. But okay. I set them up for success because I got the players that led them to a ring.
So you, in your personal record book, you are World Series winning general manager.
Basically, because I got them the players that carried them
to
the title.
All right. We got it.
That's not fair. So I tried rebuilding the Reds.
Did you try it?
And that went terrible.
Did you trade Joey Votto? Who'd you trade him to?
These are some life left.
No, Joey Votto was already retired.
Oh, he was retired. How? Jesus, what year were you playing in?
The season right now I'm at, the oldest player right now is Juan Moncada.
You acquired Moncada.
Basically, him and Ohtani are like late.
Hold on, wait, stop. You got Ohtani too.
No, like their age where I'm at right now is like late 30s. That's how far.
God, you went way.
Yeah.
He's playing a season in like 2030.
Man, Rizzo's retired.
Rizzo is
Probably.
retired.
Oh,
Mike is still coaching
the
the Cardinals.
Cubs are they're rebuilding right now where I'm at.
All right, so you're in La La Land on
Yeah.
PS4. Yeah, your universe is happy. They're rebuilding again.
I think about restarting just because
Yeah,
I
you
don't
probably
even
should.
recognize any of the players because they're all computer generated.
Yep. All right, boy, it's a school night. We're glad you called in to give us an update on that. So we got your take on the series. In reality, 1 out of 3, you think the Cardinals are going to win. We got that. Otherwise, you have to cough up your PS4 if they get swept.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Okay. All right, buddy. We'll talk to you tomorrow night.
All right.
All right. Love you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
He was perfectly capable of answering that phone an hour ago when I called him.
But no.
All right. Yeah, I know. We had to jump ahead. So let's go back. Let's go back a bit because we do have a big series coming up. And I don't know. I say big series. It's always a big series, and these two teams get together and play. But how big is this one really? We're in May.
In the grand scheme of things, not big. I feel like, but it's always big. It's always big to the fans.
Pete, take that soundbite out.
I'll make a note.
Save that one. All right. It's always big. Yes.
Well,
I think big.
I think my feelings are like that right now because I'm still sour after the last 2 losses this week. I don't know. It just, you got the wind howling out to center, and you can't get anybody to lift one out except for Rizzo on the Monday game.
See, but that goes back to what we were talking about before. Why do you have to lift one out? Just make contact.
Well, yeah, that's true. I don't know.
It's the most frustrated I've seen you ever.
I was seriously frustrated. I was frustrated with some of the ump show shit going on, the inconsistent strike zones. I mean, it was. I was a little heated.
Yeah, Pete. I love how everything's working in favor of pace of play and making the game interesting by umpires not calling a consistent strike zone.
Yeah, that helps.
By every other player just choosing to strike out. Swing as hard as they can, throw your back out, pull your head off the ball. Make sure your wrist snap though, and make that contact. Make that one specific contact. Yeah. So this everything's working against it, unfortunately. But you know what? The good news is here, guys. I do think this is a fad. It's a trend. I do think it will go. I think it will go away.
Well,
I think guys like Brian Kenny will stop. Sorry, he's off the phone. I do think guys like Brian Kenny will stop fucking talking about it because I think that you're a media personality. If you've not picked up that most of the population does not give a single shit about these stats, about this StatCast or any other bullshit.
Especially when it says that Mike Trout hit a ball 524 feet last night, and it didn't even go into the upper deck.
Yeah, I mean, just stop right there. I mean, hey, you know what? We're from the '80s when they started tracking distances of home runs and putting them on there. That's cool, fine.
Yep.
But I don't care.
I just want to know how far Glenn Allen Hill's home run actually went.
Wow. Yeah. That if you
StatCast would say 700 feet.
Yeah,
maybe. But you know, if you go back and watch that video clip, which I've seen tons of times, Pete, I think you put it on our Facebook page. But
yeah.
Like, I don't know if you could really, because the frame rate at that point in time, you really couldn't even see the ball.
No,
all you saw was swing a bat and look in the general direction.
I don't think you could see the ball even now. That thing, I seriously think there was a mini sonic boom when he hit that, because that thing, that's the first time that I've actually seen a ball launch. I would love to have been on the receiving end of that ball and seen just what terrible shape it was in when it did hit that roof.
It had a flat spot on one end of it.
The seams were split on the other side.
Right.
What carnage it created up there if it would have smacked somebody. Yeah. Yeah, that is that's just amazing. Has anybody else ever hit one up there? Not talking batting practice. Yeah, I didn't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Dave Kingman reportedly hit one that kept going down one of the side streets there. But no, nobody's ever hit one on top of one of the King Kong Kingman.
Yeah, Dave Kingman is one of the I think maybe in Busch Stadium too, the only one that's ever hit one out of it, and it wasn't in fair territory, but he hit a foul ball. You remember the old Busch Stadium, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that was a cookie cutter.
Yep.
But he hit it in foul territory over that damn overhang up there. That's I don't care if you just foul it off. I mean, that's like damn near impossible. So I would have loved to have seen that.
Not for King Kong.
No, evidently not. So yeah, we were talking about this series coming up, and it's funny, Pete, because I predict right now you and I are going to call the same result, and there are key players for the Cardinals that just aren't hitting right now. Carpenter, Fowler, and there's Colton Wong, but Colton Wong's not getting everyday regular starts. When he does, he's just not. He's not carrying his weight, and I most likely mistakenly called before the year started that I thought he'd be a breakout player. He's looking like nothing like that. So I'm going to eat those words, I think, mid-season. I'm already starting to taste them right now. But yeah, they've got several key players that just aren't hitting. Gosh, if you could get just even one of those guys hitting like we think they can, I think we are looking at a much different team, because you guys know right? It just takes one bat in your lineup to really change it. But they're just not hitting. And the bullpen still has a lot of questions. Bud Norris, Super Bud,
he is
really
saving your team's ass.
He is. I mean, he's won that position where we all look kind of dumb. Because we were dogging him. I mean, Cardinal fans were dogging him. I was, I didn't dog him hard, but I dogged him a little bit before the year started. And so I think the Cardinals are going to walk out of the series most likely the way they've been playing, probably with one win. And I hate that, but I feel like that's probably what's going to happen. Pete, you're going to say the same thing, man.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. You know what? Given the fact that that neither team has been hitting particularly well, I just have a feeling that we're going to see some ridiculously high-scoring games. Yeah, I don't see a sweep for either team.
No.
I think I honestly don't know.
Did Elliot say no and agreeing with you, or did he belch?
No, I don't see a sweep going for either team this week for the same reasons. If it does happen, if one team does sweep, it's going to be because their pitching was lights out, and these are going to be 2-1, 3-0 games, kind of like we saw last week with the Cubs in Milwaukee.
Right. I mean, all of us are hoping that we don't see a game that's already over by the third or fourth inning, for sure. I'd like them to be competitive. I just can't rely on some of that relief pitching and starters that can't seem to make it at least past the fifth inning. So that's going to be tough. And what's it tell you about a pitching staff when you're going into a series like this and you haven't announced your fifth starter? You haven't announced the starter for the third game. That tells me that
right.
Well, ESPN's got Waka.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, you know what? I'll say Cubs take 2 out of 3, but I think it's going to be just barely. I have no confidence in that. I could just as easily see the Cardinals taking 2 out of 3. Tommy Pham will get picked off first by John Lester again.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be by Lester. But yeah, he's had a couple of them this year already.
He's got what, a 60% success rate. He needs to calm down. He's not helping the team by getting caught stealing that often.
But speaking of Tommy Pham,
he's a real deal, man.
He is. He bet on himself. That's a bold choice, but it's working for him so far. And they'll have to figure out what they're going to do long term, for him, with him. And I'd like to see them reward him at some point in time. Because I think he could have at least 3 or 4 years of this in the tank. He's 30. But he's by no means up there where you're nervous about giving somebody a commitment, but I think they should. I feel he's earned it. I mean, where would they be without him?
When's his contract up? Or when's he become a free agent for the first time?
Can I ask you to look that up?
Yeah, you can ask.
I'm going to. I don't want to look it up. I think he's available to do whatever he wants. I think after this year, but I could absolutely be wrong about that. So we'll give Pete a second here, and we'll keep going on. What do you think? I was just going to sit here quiet until you looked it up. Yeah. So Tommy Pham and Yadier Molina performing like he has, at his age, I just can't imagine where this team would be right now without those two. So
Pham is under team control until 2021. I would be stunned.
Unbelievable. Wow.
Stunned if they do anything beyond just go year to year through arbitration.
I think they did offer him something, but he
2
said
years.
No.
They offered him 2 years. He said no.
Yeah, he thinks arbitration is going to reward him more. You know what? I hope he gets more. I hope he keeps doing what he's doing. He's definitely playing with an attitude.
He is.
But some guys that try to play with that attitude just doesn't work, and it backfires on them. But it's working for him, so keep it going, and we'll take it. Frankly, we need it. We need that leadership. We need that. But Pete, I will say this: he might be coming dangerously close to a flat bill if he doesn't start showing that he's enjoying playing. And I mean that. You know what I mean? Like guys that take 24 hours a day way too serious. It just doesn't sit well with me. We will all work with people like that. In my line of work, so I'm not gonna talk about on here, but there's those people that think that they're making nuclear warheads or medical devices.
You're not. And
hey,
look, everybody, Ron, everybody needs Bluetooth in their vacuum cleaners. Okay.
Oh God, Pete, don't. Don't. No, but I mean, I work with plenty that just can't, everything's like life or death. So those people wear me out. They actually suck the energy from me. They're energy vampires. They're actually soul vampires, and they steal it from me if they're like that around the clock. Hopefully he's enjoying playing because
he doesn't look like it.
No, he doesn't. He's playing with a chip on his shoulder. I get that part. But at some point in time, show me that you're happy about being where you're at. Because if you're not, that's good. Long term, it's gonna be a problem. I predict. Love what he's doing so far, though.
Hey, let's lighten the mood.
Can we?
Yeah, let's lighten the mood.
Yeah, I know what this is.
Episode 3.
Yeah, we are kind of being a little bit of Debbie Downers.
We are.
Yeah, I know.
Right now
Why did you guys let me get there? I didn't mean to get there. I was too. Did you see my face? I got really like.
It was. You know what? It was the discussion of skinny jeans that brought us all into a millennial mindset.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
All right.
And I did it. I'm the one that did it. I talked about fads and trends. I talked about how depressing launch angle exit velocity makes me. And yes, I went skinny jeans way out.
You did.
Which was a wrong call.
It was.
Yep.
All right, let's lighten it up. Episode 3, Ron's rants. Play it.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, I told you it's up there.
Okay,
we're gonna vamp.
But we're gonna get to that, but we're gonna shift gears a bit, and we're gonna go to another story, which so I can prepare for this one. Which I'm sorry, Pete, my apologies.
No worries. No. We can go to the other one because you have those cues ready, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Elliot, you're the one who first brought it to our Twitter followers' attention. Not that we were the first ones, but Elliot, talk about Sammy.
Elliot tipped us off.
Yeah. So I was going through the tweets, and I saw this article by David Kaplan, and apparently he met up with Sammy Sosa and did this two-part or a couple-part piece. He went down to Miami. He sat down with Sammy and talked about his time with the Cubs, talked about what he's doing now. And he asked him about the end of his career and the things that happened. And Sammy kind of half-heartedly half-assed an apology to Cubs fans and stuff like that. But he also did say if he was invited back, he said, I owe it to Cubs fans to come back and be an ambassador for the team.
That's
in a way. He said, I owe it to them to.
That's not. Come on
come
now.
back.
Come on now. He's trying to look. Dave Kaplan is in love with Sammy Sosa, and Dave Kaplan thinks that everybody agrees with him.
Hey, come on, Sparkles. Come on, Sparkles.
All you have to do is just look at the Tribune beat writer's reaction to Dave Kaplan's post. To get a sense of what Sammy Sosa was like.
He hates Sammy Sosa.
In the no, it's not just it's Teddy Greenstein, it's Paul Sullivan, it's Mark Gonzalez. It's pretty clear none of them had a positive experience with Sammy Sosa in the locker room. But a couple of reactions to it. It's remarkable how far Sammy's English has come in 13 years. Because he sat down for a whole interview and I understood every word. So I mean, he has become fluent in the language.
And you say 13 years because that was about the time he was called in front of
that's right. 2005. Right? He was called before Congress and he forgot how to speak the language.
Right.
But what's also remarkable is how time and distance have contributed to Sammy's sense of himself. Ron, can you go ahead and play clip number 2, I believe it was, right? I think that's what I told you.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, let's hear that.
You know, I'm a humble man. I'm not a man that have an ego. When I was playing pro, I was a little big because I was focused on what I'm trying to do.
Huh?
He's a humble man.
Wait. Let me play it again.
No, he said focused. I know.
You know, I'm a humble man. I'm not a man that have an ego. When I was playing pro, I was a little big because I was focused on what I'm trying to do.
There's so much just in that clip.
I'm glad. I'm a humble man. First of all,
I don't have an ego.
No.
You changed your skin color and your eye color. You have an ego.
Oh, well, that's why. See, and that's what leads beautifully into the next clip. Ron, go ahead and play clip 1.
So for me, 98, to have that great year that I have in 98, changed everything. You know, more people come to the game. I mean, Mark and I shocked the world.
I'm a humble man.
He's a humble man. He doesn't have an ego, but he was fucking what he had to do.
I can't wait to hear
focused. He said focused. He was focused.
I know. He said focused.
No, and this is actually part of what offends me about this, right? Is that they've gone to these huge lengths to celebrate the summer of Sammy because it's the 20th anniversary. You know, 20 years ago, tomorrow, I think it is, Kerry Wood struck out 20 batters in what is arguably the greatest game ever pitched. And it's not getting nearly the focus that Sammy Sosa did he or did he not apologize and should he come back to the Cubs is getting. He's not a humble man. He does have an ego. He did then and he does now.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, yeah. At his age when that season happened, 20 years later, from that age to the age he is now, you don't just learn humility.
No. Yeah, okay. But he's a grandpa now.
That's right. He does say that. So finally, clip 3, Ron. This is Sammy's apology.
Made a mistake. I don't have to say that, but if I made a mistake by they will offend anybody, I don't have a problem with that. I'm sorry, because I was in my zone.
I have to play it again unless you have subtitles.
No,
hang on.
Play again.
Made a mistake. I don't have to say that, but if I made a mistake by they will offend anybody, I don't have a problem with that. I'm sorry, because I was in my zone.
In my zone.
So where in there is the apology, right? If I made a mistake,
I'm sorry.
I did,
right.
But if I made a mistake,
according to you guys,
if I offended anybody, go ahead, play it again. He says, if I offended anybody, I'm sorry.
Made a mistake. I don't have to say that, but if I made a mistake by they will offend anybody, I don't have a problem with that. I'm sorry, because I was in my zone.
That's not an apology. No. I'm sorry I offended you. I'm not sorry for what I did. I don't have to say I made a mistake.
Right.
If I offended anybody, I'm sorry. So he has not apologized for what he did.
He needed to directly say, I'm sorry that I walked out on Cubs fans and my teammates on that final day.
I'm sorry that for all the years that I was with the Cubs, I completely took over that locker room and was not a part of that. There were sometimes 3 sets of music going on pre-game because I was so insistent on my music being played. I convinced the team to hire Julian Martinez, I think that was his name, to carry around my boombox and basically be my lackey and be on the club's payroll so that I could be waited on hand and foot. There's a lot to apologize for. There's a whole lot to apologize for, and he still hasn't done it.
And bowing after a home run in spring training the year following and all the other antics that he pulled. Yeah.
Expecting people to believe that he only used the cork bat to put on a show during batting practice. Yeah. Cause that's when you really make your money is during batting practice.
I was at that game.
Were you at that game?
I was at both games. I was at corked bat game and I was leaving the field. I was at leaving the field early game.
Elliot, you're just now sharing
this. It's your fault. It's your fault, Elliot. Just like it's your fault that Kyle Hendricks gave up 3 home runs the other day.
Hey, this is all Michael Cerami's fault.
No, it's your fault. You're the one who said he was going to give up a home run after a walk.
Michael Cerami from Bleacher Nation put a thing that tweeted out. Kyle Hendricks hasn't walked a batter in the last 2 games, and I responded back, and Brett Taylor responded back saying, "Yeah, you just jinxed him." I said, "No, he jinxed him. He jinxed him so bad that he's going to give up a walk, then a home run."
And that's happened.
What I said. Well, there was
back-to-back home runs.
He gave up back-to-back home runs, which is
the same result. So it's your fault, Elliot.
It is. You know what? It's not. It's not Elliot's fault.
Whose fault is it, Ron?
It's your guy, Michael Cerami, who we follow on Twitter, who you guys are in love with, who declared that Kyle Schwarber is going to be a monster this year. Has he arrived at monster status yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. So you guys should probably stop listening to that guy, and that guy should probably stop talking about Cubs players and declaring what they're going to do going into the year. That's just my advice.
See, right now would be the absolute best time for me to have cut that clip of Elliot saying Ian Happ is going to lead off 16 games with a home run.
Right. No.
What's he at? What's he at right now?
At 1.
He's still at 1.
He's still at 1.
He's still at 1. He's probably gonna. Well, if you can't count Iowa,
stay at 1.
And you can't count Iowa home runs.
No,
going to be
or Arizona only.
Yeah,
right. Or Arizona. Hey,
there was you could throw Arizona, and he's still not going to get to 16 this year.
No, he's not. All right, so there was a thing I posted up on Cardinals Nation 24/7, and it was what a trade each team should make this year, and it was Happ to Arizona. Fit or not a fit? I mean, what do you guys think about that?
It depends on what they get back.
2,999 hits.
Good job, Albert.
Oh, yes.
It's 1 away.
Yeah, it's I went to a game early in 2001, I believe. Yeah, it was his rookie year. And he didn't play that game. Bobby Bonilla came off the DL. Bobby Bonilla going on the DL was the only reason Albert was on that. Well, if you believe what you read, the tales afterwards and everything, one of the things people believe why Albert actually made the big league roster that year was because Bonilla went down. I always forget that Bobby Bonilla was actually a Cardinal. Did he ever play? Did he? I mean, I would have just wanted Ricky Henderson to play on that team just for 1 year to see if those guys would have played cards.
Oh God, that would have been awesome.
That would have been so good, so good. But I always forget that yes, he was on St. Louis. Are the Mets still paying him per diem? By the way, that would be.
I think they may have just finished.
It's just dumb. I mean, and his Albert. It's just what the hell is Albert Bell? Is he getting paid by the Orioles still? Like whatever. I mean, anything. Pete looks it up. The ridiculousness of some of the contracts that we've seen over the years. Those are really good examples of just silliness. Yeah, no, Albert didn't play that game. Bonilla came back off the DL and played. And I was disappointed because we'd been hearing about Albert. You know, he had played single A in Peoria just like a year before. He was playing at Vanaken Stadium there in Peoria for the Chiefs. But yeah, 2,099 hits. Yes, he will. He will probably arrive at 3,000. If not tonight, he will this weekend.
It's only the bottom of the second. The Angels are beating Baltimore 8-0 right now.
Baltimore.
And there's no outs.
I mean, Baltimore.
I have to say, hats off to Albert for going on a little bit of a tear, man. 29.97 was a home run. 29.98 was a double. 29.99 was a double. I mean, that's the way you want to get to 3,000. You know, no weak contact. And especially impressive for a 50-year-old man.
Yeah.
Yes, and he is not one of those guys that we're going to talk about launch angle and exit velocity, because that's not the area he came up in, and that's not how he plays. We know he's diminished, but good to watch, and always thankful as a Cardinal fan that we had him for his best 11 years.
Yeah, they didn't even have StatCast in 89.
1889. You're right.
What would that have been like?
Well, considering that every ball was beaten into the ground, and then you just tried to run faster than the infielders could get to it.
So like in kickball, where you try to kick it to the third baseman every time because it's impossible to throw that damn kickball over the first.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's it. That's really what it was. The Baltimore chop was an actual. It was an actual strategy. The Baltimore team, their players were known for taking a split grip on the bat and deliberately hitting the ball into the ground to try and get a nice high hop, so that by the time a fielder got to the ball, they were already on first base. Didn't know that, did you?
No,
I knew that.
Baltimore chop. I thought that was a cut of steak.
Only in Maryland.
Only in Maryland. Yes.
So to get back to the point that you were at before we diverted, it depends on what the Cubs got back from Arizona in a trade for Ian Happ. I mean, he's a tradable chip. His value is pretty low right now, but still, I would have to see what they get back for him. Wouldn't just trade him away for nothing.
Yeah. So they did this for every team. I'm only going to bring up the same. Colton Wong to the Rangers, and Pete, I feel the same way. It's like, okay, well, what do you get in return?
Right.
What could you really get in return out of him? They bought out his RBers,
right?
And what can you really get for him? He's going to be $5-6 million or plus. As he gets into the later years of that deal. What are they really going to get for him?
And I would take issue with that. I mean, if you're really looking at the trade that every team must make, if you're the Cubs, isn't Addison Russell more of a valuable trade chip right now? Because while he's not hitting, at least provides a defensive value.
Yeah,
Happ doesn't even bring that to the table. He's an average. Right. He's an average fielder at best, at his best position, of second base. Addison Russell is elite when it comes to his defense.
Right, and the Manny Machado for Addison Russell rumors have been. It's been struck up again. So
but it's going to require more than that. You're not going to get the two of them straight up.
Well, the start Baltimore's off to. Yes, I mean I can see that
he's not gonna make it to the All-Star break, much less the trade deadline with the Orioles.
Well, and the interesting thing is with was it not? Trade Turner, LA, Seager, Corey Seager out for the rest of the season, having Tommy John surgery. Would LA try and bring in Machado?
The only way that works, I think, is one of two ways. Either the Orioles take back Matt Kemp's dead contract and a load of prospects. Actually, that's the only way I can see it working.
Or Puig and a load of prospects.
Right. Well, but LA's got to unload a heck of a lot of money in order to be able to fit Machado on and still stay under the salary cap.
Right.
I mean, they sat out the free agent market this year in order to get under the salary cap. It would defeat the purpose of all that effort to take on Machado's contract. It's either going to have to be Kemp and a load of prospects, or it's going to have to be somebody with a big contract in order to make room for Machado on their salary roster. And then you're going to have to give up a lot of prospects in order to make that palatable to the Orioles. And I don't see the Dodgers giving up Walker Buehler in order to get Manny Machado for a half-year rental.
Well, with the way that they're playing though right now too, being under 500, that doesn't seem appetizing for Harper or these big name guys that they want to try and bring in next year. These big name guys could feel like, well, you guys kind of had a shitty year last year. I'm not going to change it that much to take us over there. I want to play for a team that was in the playoffs last year, or, made it to the NLCS or, wherever. So maybe they might feel like they have to make that move to bring in guys next year and just say, screw it, we're going to have to pay some penalties here.
Well, and looming over all of it also is going to be the fact that Clayton Kershaw probably is going to opt out of his contract.
Yeah.
And he has to be priority number one for them on the free agent market next year, is getting Clayton Kershaw re-signed and basically get him to retire a Dodger. But that's not going to be cheap.
Nope.
He's the best pitcher in baseball, except in the postseason.
How is their start to the season affecting any of this, though? Because they are 3 games under 500.
Who knows?
I think they turn it around, pull out of it. I mean, there's something going on there in LA, and that Western Division. We talked about this before we hit the record button tonight, Elliot. Before Pete jumped on. Like, we're looking at the standings here, and we're looking at the Braves in front of the Mets. The Mets, who have put Matt Harvey in the bullpen.
Well, but now who knows what's going to happen with Jacob deGrom, because he came out of the game early last night with a hyperextended right elbow. And I know that the MRI came back negative, but
yeah, we know how that goes, right?
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
Yep. He goes out, what is it, on Sunday, pitches again and tears his UCL, and it's a new story.
Right. Whole new story. Yeah, he could.
Yeah, I mean, at this point right now, Dodgers are already 7 games out of first.
Mm-hmm. They're going to have to catch fire like they did last year in order to get back into it. And the Diamondbacks will have to cool off.
Right. I mean, you got Washington 4 out, just back to 500 after having a good week of baseball. So, but the thing with the Nationals, though, is them catching fire could stay for a while. They've got the pitching, they've got the bats to be able to do it.
And in that division, I would put my money. You're looking at the Dodgers and the Nationals right now. They're both in 4th place in their division, and right now I see a more likely road for the Nationals to rise to the top of that by the All-Star break, way more than the Dodgers at this point.
Yeah,
I agree,
because the Braves are young and haven't done this before.
Right.
Talented. So it's going to be that adjustment as the media pays more and more attention to them.
Yep. Completely agree. We had another clip that we were going to play earlier, but we didn't.
Yeah. You want to hit that before we call it a night?
Yes, I do.
Episode 3.
I don't remember what this one's about, but
Ron's Rants.
Here we go.
It's another edition of Ron's Rants. Let me tell you another thing. ESPN, MLB Network are still reporting on the Yankees and Red Sox. Non-fucking stop. Yes, the Astros aren't in the mix. I haven't heard Aaron Boone's name for like all season. Just Stanton. Stanton. Oh yeah. And Stanton. Mikey Stanton. Maybe he should hang his name back. Or just Mike. 1-syllable names are tougher. You should go by L. L. Dewey. Sounds tougher. Each Ron and L are here to rip a new arsehole in baseball talk this week in a Team of Rivals podcast. My thumbs cannot type, but you get the idea. Fuck me. This has been another
Hold on.
We may have to
let it in. I actually, when I said I forgot what this was about, wasn't the context. I saw it was wrong. I forgot what I had actually texted.
It took me a half dozen readings to figure out what it was that you were saying.
I like how you actually read the autocorrect errors.
I have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. It's not nearly as funny.
Hope he hangs his name back to Mike. All right.
What did you mean there? I wasn't able to interpret that one.
He changes his name back to Mike. Obviously, I missed a vowel or something, and it said "hang" looks correct. I'll just plug that in there.
Yeah.
Thank you, iOS.
I liked haven't changed to event. See, that's where I thought you were dictating it. I thought you were telling Siri what to type.
Yeah.
I might have better luck at that, but no.
You know, if you can generate these consistently, we may have to spin this off as its own Tuesday morning update podcast. Just 1 minute to the stream, Ron's rants to kick off your week.
Maybe
if we could make a book out of it at the end of the year on Zazzle.
There you go, Elliot. Now you're thinking.
It's a coffee table book or
there you go. That's a we can make that when we launch the Patreon site. That can be one of the bonuses.
Giveaways
is the complete audio recordings of Ron's rants.
I'm in. I'll even voice them over for you.
There we go.
You're going to be able to connect with the moment, relight that fire.
I don't know. Those bubble up to the surface. I don't know when they're coming. It's like a seismic activity. Nobody can predict it. It just happens.
I am so hoping for a complete meltdown by the Cardinals during one of the 3 games this weekend, because next week's episode will be epic. I can't wait to record that one. I'm looking forward to recording that one.
All right. Well, you and me both, man. We're going to do this again next week. And so here we go. Pete, walk us out.
I've got background music now.
You do?
Wow. All right. I got to get in the mood for that. All right. When you're not online, you can find us at teamarivalspodcast.com. On Facebook, just search for Team Arrivals Podcast. On Twitter, you can find us at Team Arrivals Pod, or on Instagram at Team Arrivals Podcast. You can contact us at the show at teamarivalspodcast.com. And you can also contact Elliot on Twitter at
TOR_Elliot.
Obviously, you can watch us live on YouTube, and you can catch us anywhere you listen to podcasts: iTunes, Radio Public, SoundCloud, etc., etc. And just a shout out for Radio Public. They aspire to be a Netflix for podcasts through a curated algorithmic approach. But by listening to us on Radio Public's app or through their online player, not only do you push us up their list of recommendations, but you also support the show by throwing some pennies our way. The best part is it doesn't cost you a thing. And don't forget to visit the team store on Zazzle.
That's a nice looking hat.
I agree.
It is.
All right, gents. Good show. Looking forward to the series coming up. And I'm sure we'll be trading barbs back and forth via Siri dictation. I'm going to try it this weekend. See if it works better than my fat thumbs mistyping things. All right, everyone. Hope everybody has a good week. And we will be back at it again next week. Same time, same place. Bye, everyone.